normally expect a Blitzcrank against Key.
You know, if there's one guy on this lineup of rocks that you really need to look forward to, it's Key. I mean, he makes plays all the time. A lot of supports are coming in big nowadays in the LCK. You look at Tushin, even on the side of Afrika. Key over here for the Rocks Tigers. They want to focus him down.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are going to get a hell of a draft here so far. With Zyra being the ban, you've got many tanks still available. Caitlyn has yet to be banned. I would be surprised if Rocks Tigers do not ban that one last. I think Samsung can easily count on that one. And now Kalista and Caitlyn are up. Those two are definitely going to be taken here. Okay, whew. Caitlyn not picked. I mean, Ruler was saying himself that he believes that Caitlyn is the most broken champion in the game right now. And I don't think a whole lot of people would disagree with him. When is she going to be fixed? We don't know yet. But until then, Kalista remains at the top of the table for our premier AD carry.
Yeah, she received some, I guess it was fixes with the Runon's Hurricane, not stacking the headshots and stuff like that, but it just doesn't matter. Her kit is out of control, her range is crazy, her lane control, everything you want to say about the Caitlyn, it's broken. It's not going to get through. And we do have both of the AD carries picked up right away, obviously the Kalista for Samsung and then the Kog'Maw for the Rocks Tigers.
But the second that Kog'Maw gets locked in, Samsung know exactly what Rocks is going for. Just protect Sangyun. They've been doing it all split long, and picking it this early on doesn't even give Samsung the room to guess, hey, maybe are they going to go with maybe an Ashe or a different pick, something else against the Kalista? No, Kog right away, and so Samsung can just respond with as much hard engage as possible. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a Maokai as well here to just imitate what KT did against Longzhu previously, but no, it will be instead the Orianna. But still, you get that same combination of Rakan jumping into your Kog'Maw with the Orianna Shockwave, and no AD can survive that.
That time in the audience said that that member, that fan, came down to watch the host of the Korean cast. Doesn't care about the players, doesn't care about the other casters, just the guy in the middle. Then we got him on camera. Very cool guy, one of the nicest guys we have over here at Spo TV.
How nice is he?
Just a really genuine guy. I mean, generally after big tournaments, you know, you go out, have a little celebration, and he's just really genuine, loves to hear what you're talking about. You'll get a chance to meet him at the end of the season, Crumbs.
I don't speak Korean.
It's okay. We can translate for you. We got you covered, man. I don't know who that is. He said maybe he came from Ulsan, not 100% certain. Said something about Crown as well, but going back into the pick and ban, let's focus a little bit here. We got the Lucian pickup for, I would assume that's Lava. We haven't really seen top lane Lucian in a hot second.
Yeah, but locking away these super important picks and roles for the Tigers makes it even more, like Samsung have the easiest path to a draft now. There is no guessing game. It becomes, all right, double AD carry composition. You're most likely going to see tanks. Just pick a Gragas for Ambition, maybe Maokai for Cuvee, and then you're done with it. Maokai at least gets banned, so Rocks recognize the power of that one, but Gragas seems to be the important pick here, and Mighty Bear will likely try to clinch that one for himself, as giving it away to Samsung's side would be huge for them.
Taking away the Gragas here. If they want to go full-on defense mode, they'll be looking for other gigantic tanks. Perhaps something like a Jarvan or a Cho'Gath.
Oh, Cho would be so risky here because the later this game goes, the less likely you're going to actually be able to hit a Rupture. You've got Kalista that can dance around, Orianna that speeds up everybody, and then Rakan, who is the hardest to catch support out of all of them. So Sejuani makes a little bit more sense until we get Crucibles and QSSs, but until that point, she will have an easier time than the Cho.
Yeah, do you like that pick? Hi, Crumbs!
Oh, where is he?
Where is he?
Hello.
Oh, there you go. This is this guy,
Yeah,
Crumbs.
see, he came to see me too, so.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Whoa, zoom in on the star.
It's all over
Back
the place.
to Cuvee.
All right, but the Jarvan gets locked in instead. So going with that hard engage, just all about the Kog'Maw.
Oh boy!
Like, see, this is what happens when you save, when you don't save your valuable picks. Imagine how different things would have looked if you had the Sejuani in the order of the Lucian instead. You got to take the Kog'Maw away because it's expected that Samsung would ban that one out against Sangin, but at least you wouldn't give your hand away saying, hey, it's already a Lucian mid lane, unless they're not prepared to go with another champion in the mid lane and they just really wanted to have it. But they will have to play up to the standard required to blind these champions early. It's not a terrible strategy as long as you are mechanically sound and have practiced this composition multiple times before.
We had the last pick Kled after the Jarvan for Samsung, so we will have another Jarvan jungle. And I'm going to take a quick look at exactly how many times Ambition has played that. Just once. He did take the win on it. But we've seen it to limited success. You know, can't really build up those items as fast. Has some nice gank potential with the flag and drag into the shield, and especially after he hits level 6.
But that's all he's about, just ganking. He doesn't have to do anything else. You just blow your Cataclysm on the Lucian after he used dash, use it on Kog'Maw on cooldown, and then you got everybody else that can combo. So it's full-on engage. Every single member of Samsung can participate with a hard engaged composition, but Rocks have plenty of engage and disengage themselves. You can use Sejuani Ultimate, you can use plenty of tools at your disposal to battle what Samsung have drafted.
Yeah, they definitely have an opportunity here. I need to see them get into the late game and actually put up a shot here up against Samsung. See the lineup here. All about that engage, even the Kled coming in, Kive bringing that back onto the Rift, a pick he's played many times.
But the early game does not rely for, or will not be in the favor of Rocks Tigers. With a Sejuani jungle, you're always at a disadvantage, and it's going to be up to Ambition to turn the early game in Samsung's favor and snowball an advantage into a mid-game teamfight win.
So there you have it, guys. We're getting ready to go and jump onto the Rift. We'll see which one of these teams is going to take the lead going into game number 1. Let's find out. Samsung versus the Rocks Tigers. Let's do it. Welcome to game number 1. Here we are.
You know what would be amazing, actually? If one day you convince this entire crowd to yell, say, Crumbs fighting or Valdez fighting. You record it and then you make that your wake-up alarm. You wake up to people yelling your name, fighting. That puts you in high spirits right from the get-go.
Do you think that would be enough to wake you up?
Oh, absolutely.
Just a little like, Crumbs fighting.
The smile on my face would be too much to keep me in a slumber.
I used to have an alarm that was like, it's time to get up. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Time to go to the gym. Grab your shake, get up and stretch, do a couple of jumping jacks. But it never really worked because as an esports
your alarm
caster,
said that?
yeah, it was something that some guy made. I forget exactly where I got it from, but I wanted to try it. Kind of half as a joke, but also to see if it would actually work. So I tried it, but it would never work because as an esports caster, I'm not necessarily waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And only started going to the gym about a month ago once again. So at that time, it really wasn't very effective because I wasn't going to the gym. It wasn't 4 o'clock in the morning. And I certainly was not getting up and doing any jumping jacks at that time.
So then why did you get it again?
I just wanted to try it out. Didn't work, so I got rid of it. Now I just have the standard one. Actually works a little bit better. I find it's more effective to change your alarms because then you don't know what that really loud sound is in your house. But if you become familiar with it, it's like, oh, that's my alarm. I just want to go to sleep, you know?
I actually don't use alarms. I let my body decide.
What if you got to get up for something?
My body knows.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or I sleep, you know, with enough time. Because I guess the most I can sleep is like 7 hours, not 8.
I'm like a 7.5 hour kind of guy myself. I used to be, like when I was a teenager, I would sleep for crazy amounts of hours, like 12 hours in a row.
So you missed your teenage years. It just you slid past them?
Well, I mean, it was, you know, play LOL, get up, play LOL, eat a bunch, go work out, go play hockey, come back, play more LOL, go to sleep, and then basically repeat that until I went to college. So I wasn't really wasting them, but I did sleep a lot.
That sounds a lot like wasted.
To each his own.
Yeah, well,
I enjoyed it.
And speaking of each their own, you've got Ambition taking away the doubles camp on the opposite side, and then you have Mighty Bear splitting the map with Raptor camp. Both junglers seemingly will be going for that level 6. Ganking Lava early on is not a feasible option as Orianna doesn't have enough damage just yet, and then Shen, you're not killing anytime soon. Bottom lane relies on wave control and setup, and so they've got nothing to do but to farm. But hey, Jarvan has a lot of utility and is a lot easier to execute than Mighty Bear, to be honest. How many times have we seen Sejuani's miss ultimates? Too many to count, and in fact, even at that, we see them with the ones that are successful with like 60 or 30% of them.
You're saying 30% of the ones that are thrown out are successful?
70% are successful, 30% fail.
Oh, okay, I see. Just having trouble with the math there. I get it. Here comes Sejuani, speaking of which, not level 6, but they will thankfully accept this trade, the Rocks Tigers. Jarvan coming in too, so we have a little bit of a 3-on-3. The exhaust is going to be used. CoreJJ will be healed up here, should be the first blood, but no! They don't go for him! They don't execute the double flash to get out of it. And now they're looking for Key. He doesn't have his Unbreakable up. A couple more Ren stacks, and there it is. Jumping in. First blood. CoreJJ still alive. And Ruler on the Kalista picks that one up.
Like you got to see the Cirque du Soleil. CoreJJ gets out of the mix and somehow survives with a final sliver. I think one more auto attack from Key would have actually kept him alive in that exchange. But overall, the Rocks Tigers, their composition does not have enough damage at this stage in the game. They try to go for the gank, and some should have been enough. But the Kalista, she's excellent at turning these situations around because she can always stack up those Rens as you continue to go on the chase, and then the time that she decides to turn on you, she can keep going forward and then has way more spears in you than you had initially anticipated.
Yeah, meanwhile we had Lava kind of hopping down.
So here we go. It starts with CoreJJ jumping in. He's been playing like this the entire laning phase, so they're trying to get the final proc off. It's not enough, and Keith says, you know what, let's just get this out of the way. Let's see, one more auto. Could it have run? Oh, yeah, Key,
definitely.
Key had it. He absolutely did. And the double flash is enough, but Key's life is not, as he doesn't have enough HP to survive the endless stack. But cool to see CoreJJ have presence of mind to remain active to go for that knockup. I don't believe it was necessary, but it looks cool.
Certainly does. And cool little play there by Samsung, able to capitalize on the mistakes of the Rocks Tigers. So already 1,000 gold in the lead is Samsung after picking up that first blood. And not just that, but Crown was able to get a slight lead in the mid lane. He took out 2 control wards, and he should be feeling pretty good about his lane as well, picking up double cloth armor up against this Lucian to start.
But now we wonder, what is Samsung going to be doing? Because, okay, Kog'Maw doesn't have flash. Level 6s will be coming up soon. The Ruler's already level 5, halfway to 6. You've got a Jarvan. There are no teleports available. Do you go for the Kog'Maw? But there is a Stand United available, so they have to take many precautions if they want to go for this play. They are setting themselves up to go for it as Ambition moves towards this side of the map, and there is an aggressive control ward. But at least Juve needs to be in on this to be able to stop the teleport, and okay, here we go. It's going to happen soon.
He's setting up, coming in very deep, even checking the Wolves. Puts down a deep ward and is not moving towards that bottom side, although pings are coming down. He's going to pick up the Scuttle Crab instead to start.
Pings are coming down, but you can see that Rocks expected some action into the bottom side. They retreated far back from their turret. They placed a control ward, and now they're still lingering far behind their tower because they don't want to deal with the chance of going for it or getting tower dove. That would mean that Kog would just be useless for quite some time. Instead, they fall back into the Dragon, and it's a great pickup because you've got so many champions that benefit from flat AP and AD that why not?
Yeah, the more safe approach. You know, just keep Kive up in top. He didn't have his TP. Wanted to make sure that they could get in a realistic objective without going for any turret dives, especially with the response from the Rocks Tigers. So good start here, picking up that Infernal Drake. Level 6 has been hit down by both Ruler and Songyun.
And they have to respect the level 6 from Kalista, Rakan as well. Even though Rakan isn't quite 6 yet, and they do have Stand United, you don't want to bait these guys with the Stand United because you're not going to kill anybody unless they fully commit onto you. They're so slippery that Linderang's teleport would have to absolutely include his flash if they want to turn onto any of this. So Rocks Tigers resort to farming, to trying to get some vision, and this Roman to the bottom side is not going for a dive attempt, it's just getting enough vision. Oh,
they were spotted by that Scrying Orb. This could be a big 5-man opportunity in the bot side for Rocks, but Ambition spots it out. You can see immediately the bottom lane of Samsung backs off, so no can do this time around.
Yeah, it actually did look like they were fancying that dive, but the second they saw Ambition, they ran away. You do have Kled with teleport, so it's not like they can just show up and win these fights. Not that easy. Just having an access to the lane does not mean that you're going to be able to pull this off. There's still execution involved. The damage that you have isn't as high as it is on Samsung right now, so there are factors to consider when attempting these plays.
Yeah, so Samsung with the nice defense and going for a bit of a knock-up, just harassing, trying to deny some CS from that Cog. You can see already some of that denial is coming to effect as Ruler's about 10 CS ahead after Cog picks up this wave. So far, no other kills have come onto the map. So far, Kive hasn't really gone for much. He actually walked over a control orb, and they see him coming down into the Raptors.
Well, being spotted isn't the worst thing in the world. You can always be, or it's easier to have your presence felt if you are actually in vision. If you have said, hey, I'm literally walking towards mid lane, Lava has no choice but to say, all right, I'll back off. If you're not in sight, that means that you're here. I need to respect it, and I can't contest a wave with Orianna in the face. I have to wait for it to crash, and that opens up room for Crown to do what he's doing right now, which was clearing a control ward.
Oh, they're going deep on the Crown, but look at the quickness and grand entrance. The shockwave coming in, they bait out that Stand United, and the play from Rocks does not work as Cortez's position does deny it.
Sign number one of a bad Chen ultimate is when you don't have preparation and you use it as a response. They use it because they see that Crown got caught, but that play had nothing to do with Rocks orchestrating that. It was simply Crown who initiated that because it was Juve roaming down. So that was basically a reactionary Shen ultimate, even though it wasn't used to save anybody. And now Samsung get to respond once again with Vision. And without Stand United, this Kog'Maw is fodder. They're circling him like sharks, waiting for the opportunity to take down the Void Monster.
Will be spotted on a control ward here as Ambition, so immediately Songyun and Ki say, nope, no thank you. I will not be buying any of what you're trying to sell in this time. And so Samsung decide to back off from that one. Don't want to go for the tower dive just yet. Although Ambition is still around. You can see the pathing now of Mighty Bear on the minimap. He's coming down. Definitely will respect the possibility of that dive.
It's so funny because Ambition is just pronging all of Rocks Tigers. He lingers there and goes for this. But
how many of these wards is he going to get?
He had 2 in the inventory, but every time he shows up, it forces Rocks to abandon the wave. So they have to sit back, and it gives Samsung advantage in minion control, and they get to push for the tower. So it's a passive way of just taking down their opposition. They have no need to fight as long as they continue to apply pressure. They force the rest of Rocks to respond, and they continue to do this, and the tower will go down in one more push. So this is actually fantastic macro play from Samsung. You can trace the exact beginnings of this ordeal to when Juve roamed down to the mid lane. It has all been one long chain of events that has allowed them to now pressure that bottom tier 1, to have double control wards in the river, and even though Stand United was used and there was an opportunity for a dive, they just use it as an opportunity for advantages with no risk.
Songyun and Ki are doing their best to stop that push. Ping's going down actually onto Ambition at the Krug, so they know his position, and that should make that bottom lane of the Tigers even more scared as he may rotate on down there. Watching some trading up in top. Hasn't had the most action. You can see with the Stand United, Juve got a decent lead about 13 CS ahead, but not much else.
No.
Still trying to push this bottom lane.
With these matchups, these junglers have opted to maroon their top lane. There's no need to be visiting those lanes. Just focus it all about the bottom side of the map. And now an attempt on blue buff seems to be in order.
Yep, not throwing out the Sejuani ultimate just yet. Kive is in position if he wanted to move cross map for his charge, but it looks like they're just going to hand over the blue buff. Will not be contesting that at this moment in time. But look at this tower. We're going to have Ambition come on down, and just pushing the Tigers back with that little move towards the blue will open up that first blood turret.
Right now, Ambition is the MVP for this game. He forces Rox to react to the blue buff, draws attention there, and then bam, his bottom lane has the freedom to continue to push. And what better timing than 8 seconds until a dragon spawns? So they're going to be able to walk away with a tier 2 dragon. Sure, it's a cloud dragon, but hey, it's something for them. And with a composition that wants to be playing the way that they are, just moving around, not looking for confrontation, avoiding the stand united, it's perfect for them.
It's very nice, clean, standard play so far out of Samsung. No gigantic moves, no QV charges from the top side just yet. Just waiting to get small advantages over and over, slowly build that lead that they got, capitalizing on the mistake of the Tigers early on. So they're sitting pretty, about 3,000 gold ahead.
And here comes the lane swap. So Rox will respond with an equivalent swap, taking their dual lane to the top side, but this is often when we see teams drop the ball. It's easier to start making the same play that Ambition did on the bottom side, just because it's the first iteration of it. There's less variables involved. But now that you get a swap into the top side, there's more at stake. People often access this lane easier. There's people looking to actively kill each other. They've already understood the game plan that has been in order. And so it's unlikely that Samsung can get away with the same clean caliber of play into the dual lane on this top turret that they did on the bottom side.
Look at what Samsung did. They baited Tigers over towards the left side and then went for a bit of a push in the mid lane, just abusing these waves, getting more and more small advantages here. And now he's going to come in and clean up some of the wards that were already put down here by the Rox Tigers. So even starting this Rift Herald, it doesn't look like they will commit to it. Just trying to beat in the Rox Tigers, and here we go. It's going to be 3-on-3 to start. Trying to get that ultimate, and they get so much down onto Ruler, but an easy flash away will mean his life is saved.
Yeah, starting that Herald was an indication that Samsung was there as it went onto the Scuttlecrab, so they wisely back away, but at least they get 2 crucial ultimates out of the Rox Tigers, and they blow their Fate's Call and the Charm from Rakan, but Fate's Call is not as valuable as it is for Mighty Bear to have his own ultimate. So this, in the end, will favor Samsung Galaxy, as now Rox Tigers have less tools to make use of their stand united. And if the lanes continue to go this way, Samsung continues to get advantages, especially as mid lane continues to have pressure, because a late game Orianna is way better than the late game Lucian.
You have the double blade of the Rune King picked up by the Lucian Kog'Maw right now. So if they did want to go for some kind of objectives, if they could get a pick into an objective, they could do it very fast. But so far, just going to be okay for the front line, the Jarvan and the Kled, once they do get tanky. And yeah, not too much action after that first kill. We've kind of just been chilling. You know, taking Cloud Drake after the Infernal for Samsung, and some cute plays around the Rift Herald.
Aww, Lucian's having dinner for one with a Valentine setting.
Poor guy.
It's Thresh. Thresh took his girl.
Oh, look at this damage coming in. He's going to go for the Cataclysm too. Key getting very low. The Stand United comes out. So double ult for Samsung, and only one here for the side of the Rox Tigers. But more importantly, it means that Key does have to go back home. So we'll see what Samsung can do with this bit of space they've garnered for themselves.
And no Stand United, and Rox had no intentions of using that Stand United anytime soon anyways, at least from what we have seen. So overall, not much damage to either of these teams as we continue to hit that mid-game lull, although now that the Rift Herald has been started, we're likely just going to see Samsung having to pull out of this one.
Yeah, good vision over here. The control ward is down, and they know where the members of Samsung are. So Mighty Bear, you can see he's waiting. He does have his ultimate up. That Rift Herald getting extremely low. He's going to go for it, looking for the steal, but no. Goes over to Ruler with that Ren. So here we go. Linderon coming in with the taunt, and the ultimate is going to take down Ambition in total. Now this is a 5-on-4, but look at Lava up in the top side, trying to be taken down by Cuvee. The rest of Samsung is able to disengage. Look at Cuvee going 1v2 up there. The rest of Brox is on the run. So here we go, Crown trying to flash forward and get some damage put down onto this team, but a follow-up flash from Kog'Maw will mean they get away.
Brox did not want to let Samsung have that one that easily, and even though Stand United wasn't available, they do commit the teleport onto the Shen, but we just got to see the top laners in action, and boy, does Cuvee do a lot of damage. He was almost capable of soloing out Lava by himself. If it wasn't for Mighty Bear there to try to save the day, then he would have had to burn Flash or likely gone down, but at least Samsung turned out with a mid lane tower as well as top. So objectively, they do lose Ambition, but they gain so much in terms of map presence.
Yeah, trade they'll take 100 games out of 100, so feeling pretty good right now. Baron coming up in about 40 seconds. We'll see if Samsung wants to make a play around there. They do have the Kalista and Cuvee to put on relentless pressure in the opposite lanes, but did use that teleport. No doubt they'll look for some picks first before they get on that. A double Cloud Drake would actually be not so bad for Samsung.
Well, they have been prioritizing that Dragon so that they could have more win conditions on themselves. And we expect them to go for the mid and bottom outers, as it's easier to access the blue buff as well as the Dragon. And for now, we have the standard Crown into the top side. This is the traditional Samsung play pattern where you have Crown just farming solo, and he will eventually amass a nice CS lead over his mid laner if all goes well for Samsung. So look for mid push, the bottom push, then Ambition joins in with Core JJ, and we get to see Vision in the blue side, and then maybe turn into a Dragon.
Yeah, the Rox Tigers feeling a little bit like old Jin, where you would lose in the beginning and kind of just slowly fall over, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa that actually does more than lean and eventually falls.
Will it eventually fall? I think the
I don't know if the real Leaning Tower of Pisa would actually fall, but I have a feeling the Rox Tigers are leaning a little bit here. It's going to be a free Cloud Drake down on the bottom side. Next one will be Mountain, so just to add insult to injury, if Samsung is able to pick that up, that'll be 4 Elemental Drakes, but also a much easier Baron.
So Valdez, you're a man of class, right? We know this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wear suits, right? Yeah, you wear suits.
Yeah,
You're
I do.
a caster. You wear suits.
Of course. I'm wearing dress pants. You guys just can't see them.
Well, we don't get to wear suits today, but have you heard of the tradition where you don't button the bottom button, right? You got 2 buttons on your jacket, and then you always leave the bottom one unbuttoned. You've heard that a million times, right? That stylistically, it's a sin to do so. Do you know where that comes from?
Where's that from?
Well, it turns out, and I believe this is a legend has it, but it sounds pretty accurate, that a king in London, King Edward VII, I believe, got to be so fat that he could no longer wear his jacket with both buttons buttoned. So he had to resort to leaving the bottom one unbuttoned. And the people around him, in order to not make him feel bad or offended, started doing that. And then eventually that became the trend.
Where did you make up that story from?
I did not. I definitely did not make that up.
Okay, I believe you.
So, you know, next time you find yourself in your classical ways, consider why. Because I'm going to be going double button down now.
You know, that's actually a strategy that I've heard. Speaking of fashion with button downs, you know, that's all the rage, especially over in America. Everybody wears the button downs with the jeans and not tucked in and all that good stuff. But okay, hold that thought. We are going to have a fight here. Finally, some kills maybe. They're getting on to Songyun. Look at that burst damage. Cuvee trying to get in there, but the Shen dodge circle coming in, and actually they cannot take out the Kog'Maw. A double kill going over to Songyun, as perhaps this time Samsung overstepped their boundaries.
Just as you said, that dodge circle, the Spirit's Refuge from Linderang, saved Sangyu's life. Cuvee was not able to get all his damage off, and Core JJ, sure, he got a great charm and great ultimate onto him for the Kog'Maw, but the CC from the Rocks Tigers and the Stand United keep him alive. And a 2-0 Kog'Maw, there's still hope in the Rocks Tigers here. We're going to look at the replay once again, and it starts with the charge from Cuvee, where it looks, all right, where is it coming from? That's what Rocks Tigers are wondering. Look at how much they combo. He flashes out right away, but the Unbreakable stops the ultimate from Orianna. The ball is not there, so he gets to just stand in the circle from Shen and lives. And once again, we get to see the value of Braum as a tremendous counter pick for so many champions. The Twitch gets denied, a plethora of damage. Orianna's ball cannot get past, and that might be an indication for what these later fights will look like.
Man, Samsung was looking so good, so clean, you know, not any mistakes basically across the board, and they were taking it slow and steady, taking all the small objectives, not forcing it, but this time the Rocks Tigers got the better of them. Just a really nice play, some small misses by the side of Samsung, you know, the Fate's Call also not missing, but after all, it was really a combo play from Linderong and Key that made that happen for the Rocks Tigers. And so they should be proud about that. They're going to have a chance in this game. The 2-0 Kog'Maw with 2 items will definitely become a threat to deal with about 15-20 minutes later in this game. So we'll see what they can do. They still have this big front line with Linderong, Mighty Bear, and Key to help out.
They're looking for, look at Ambition's position.
The charge again, and he runs straight into lava, but they're going for this. A Cataclysm with that shockwave doesn't really go off. There's not that much damage. Another Unbreakable is fantastic. There's the taunt coming in after the teleport, and all of a sudden, Samsung, they're all alone. It looks like lava is going to go down. Cuvee trying to carry this one by himself, but there he goes, hopping off Skarl. He is going to sacrifice his life for the rest of his team. At least he can do that. And Samsung, now they might be giving up a bit of a Baron play for the Rocks Tigers here.
Ambition is low, but he can fancy a steal. They're trying to turn, but there's not enough damage to go onto Ruler. The cease damage is not there yet.
The Glacial Fissure comes on in. Ruler with the taunt, he will go down. And that's another big pick. They still have time to go for this. Ambition still sticking around. Key very low as well. Here we go. The Baron is started.
Can Ambition be the hero that Rocks Tigers need? They don't have enough resources to try to turn onto him or vision of him. Core JJ is giving sight to Ambition. They're going to be able to take out Key. Oh, he's so low.
Okay, Key is going to go down, but that's okay. Teleport coming in. They're going for this. Maybe it's not all that okay. Trying to burst this down. Mighty Bear getting low too, but he gets the smite off before that. And now look at Ambition. Looking at full. Okay, he's going to flag and drag over the wall, and it looks like Songyun will go down as well. But the Baron was secured for the Rocks Tigers.
It goes onto 2 men. You got it on Lava, you got it on Linderang. Linderang having it is pretty big, as it will stop an entire lane of split push pressure. But how many times does Samsung have to learn the harsh lesson that the winter gives to you? Key's Unbreakable comes through once again. So we're going to look at it again. Orianna's not quite here yet. So sure, it goes in. But look at that. The again, Unbreakable denies the Orianna ball. You've learned this lesson in day 1 of how to play against Braum. You get punished again, and Orianna gets eliminated immediately. Luckily, Ambition was able to survive that fight, but had that gone worse, this could have been a Baron on many more members of the Rocks Tigers.
I think Crown needs to go a little bit more man mode. He's had 2 failed shockwaves. How about next time he flashes into the fight himself and shockwaves himself? What do you think, Crumbs? Viable play?
There is a time and place for that, actually, to go for the command protect into shockwave flash, since you can buffer it.
I mean, he just keeps getting denied over and over by Key. They did target him with a bunch of bans, but he still picked up that Braum, looking good.
It's just patience, because when you try to go, I believe that the way that it works is that when you try to throw the command attack, will drag it down, but if you go command protect on a target that is not behind the Unbreakable, and then that target moves behind Braum, that the ball will remain.
I think so. Seems that way. Okay, Songyun, oh boy, getting out of position, but actually the QSS flash will mean that he stays alive. Did blow all of his summoners as well as the QSS.
That's pretty big. The shockwave is down, so it will give Rock some more breathing room when it comes to pushing. But for some reason, Ambition is pushing this bottom side of the map. He is quite mobile, so he can offer some pressure alleviation for the rest of Samsung.
We've seen junglers do this from time to time. I think it was Ambition that actually did it the last time.
It's typically not Jarvan.
On the Rek'Sai?
Yeah.
Remember, he's like, oh, this, I think I'm playing the old Rek'Sai, right?
No, it was Score earlier today as well.
Yeah. But I think it was some other jungler that did it before, and it actually was a not so good play up towards the right side, or the top side from the red team. But either way, not the first time we've seen the split push jungle. So Samsung's still in the lead. You know, there have been a couple of risky plays that haven't gone right. The Unbreakable out of key has been stellar, has been the MVP so far of a lot of these fights in tandem with Linderong, but Samsung still have the lead by about 2,000 gold, and they do have a lot of very valuable Drakes underneath their belt. So if they can win fights later on against this Kog'Maw, especially while he doesn't have his summoners, there's still a chance. I mean, there's only 20 seconds left on this Baron. They'll probably get this mid turret as they begin to push in.
Sure, both teams are still plenty in this, but Kog'Maw is not human. He does not care about your gold, only his own
He's
power.
immortal.
And he's about to have that Ginsu's Rage Blade. I believe that's what he's going for with that recurve bow. I would be surprised if it's anything else right now. It would seem to be the build that makes the most sense, considering his position as not the sole DPS when you have Lava on the team as well, who, hey, he's got 3 items too.
Yeah, Loki farming it up. Actually has the most CS in the game. Oh, look at Songyun trying to check some of these brushes, but the ward looks like it may have spotted them going in, and now Ambition will be engaged upon. Doesn't look like they're going to fully commit. Mighty Bear wants it, but the rest of his team is not in position. Uh-oh, Lava is all alone. There's the Stand United. They want to get on top of him. They want to get that Rend, and there it is. With the Fate Skull, they do take him out, and now Linderong totally out of position, trying to get onto that blasting plant, but do you see that ruler says no. Linderong still on the run, and Crown on the chase. We'll see if they can eventually take out this Shen. CoreJJ also coming out denying another blasting plant. There's the teleport. Will they have enough? Oh, there it is, just barely at the end. A risky teleport, and it doesn't work.
Instead of accepting death, he clings on and pays even more than that one. So Lava gets caught out of position, burns his own flash. At least he got CoreJJ's, but that shows you the quickness at which Rakan can pick you off. This champion is so valuable right now because anybody that is by himself can just get murdered. And it's even worse when you've got Kalista on the team, where you've got Fate's Call as well to drag him out for extremely long range, or use him to toss him right in there. And it all started because of Ambition's position. He was, again, pressuring Rock's Tigers to respond on the top side of the map. The rest of Samsung collapses, and Lava decides to take a stroll through the mid lane, not recognizing that, hey, being next to these 3 members is not a good idea.
Yeah, and you can see the follow-up here. Nice play. Looks like both CoreJJ and Ruler were trying to get on top of that one. But they do deny it and take out the Shen in the end. A blown teleport just adds a little bit of salt to the wound.
He put that salt right there.
Yeah. It's like, I heard salt is good for wounds. Let me just add this in. Give you guys teleport advantage at the same time.
Well,
we'll have Stand United at least.
Well, you know, salt was used as the first method of preserving meats.
Yes, yeah, I do know that, Crumbs.
Before refrigerators.
Yeah, I've heard that fact before. Do you have any other cool stories about
meat?
Not meats.
Because I do.
About any other kings that had some quirks about them?
Ooh, actually, I do have another one.
Okay.
So, I don't think many viewers would understand this one, but in Spanish, most people around the world have a similar method of speaking Spanish, but it's only the Spaniards that have a specific way of sounding, a bit of a lisp. And similar to the King where, wait a minute, hold that. Wait just a burger flipping second.
Are they going to engage? It looks like they want Mighty Bear. Sangyun is still good, and the ult is good, but you can see that Rocks, they don't want to take the fight. Lava trying to go 1v1 on Ruler. He gets away. And look at this, the Shock Blast! The Shockwave coming in is enough. The Cataclysm in the back. Lots of low Rocks members, but Sangyun, he is safe in the back, still available. And it looks like Samsung cannot take the fight for now, and they will not take it. They back away.
They back away, but they have the inside track to the Baron pit. There is some life steal on the side of Rocks Tigers, but they are starting it right away.
Look at this. They're going straight for it. They got the cojones. And here we go, the Rocks Tigers, they're gonna come in. Ambition's getting low. We have the Rent coming in, and there it is. Ruler able to secure that. And now Samsung, they just want to disengage. They don't want to take a fight. Sangyun has blue. He's forever going to be attacking them. So they just disengage, and there's the Baron for Samsung.
And that's what happens when you have the inside track to the Baron. You get to get there first, and if your composition is quick enough, you can just take it. However, Rocks Tigers will walk away with a traded Mountain Dragon. That can be significant when it comes to the upcoming objectives, and it will be their first dragon, denying Samsung's fourth, which is a lot of dragons.
Fourth and then the fifth, and no! Ambition says, no, that's mine. Get away from my dragon. 5 dragons here in the ball pit for the Sejuani means that she had a lot of fun, but she died. So Baron, as well as a 5th dragon, going over to the side of Samsung. They're looking pretty swell. They're looking good. Going for a push now towards the mid lane as well as the bottom lane.
He might be military Jarvan Commando, but he owns those dragons as if he was Dragon Slayer. So 5 dragons to Samsung as well as Baron. With 2 mountains, this will surely be mid lane turret. And they will transition to the bottom one as Kled is already here trying to escort some minions.
They could look to go for a dive if they want to. They do have the charge available. I think they'll just play it safe and wait for that minion wave though. But that does mean that Mighty Bear will spawn and make this into a 5-on-5. So, here comes the push. Slow and steady wins the race. Crown still has his ultimate available. There is that Sejuani ult. When is she going to throw it in? There's the Rakan charming up everybody, and Ambition survives. Stand United coming in here as well. Shockwave still available. And it looks like Crown is just not going to go for it as he didn't find a suitable time. So Ambition playing with fire, gets away. Now he's at full health as he did go back home.
But he's pushing the top side curiously, so Samsung still taking this at a 3v5. There's not a whole lot of engage on Rocks Tigers, and Ambition still commits to the top side. So until they see that Ambition is up there, Rocks will be refraining from going for an engage once again, even though they don't have ultimate. So they know that they have the man advantage, they just don't have the tools to punish it.
Yep, no Stand United, no Glacial Fissure, no Sejuani ult. Gotta learn the name of that one. Sick of calling it the Sejuani ult.
Glacial Prison.
Glacial Prison? I guess that's because if it hits them, it kind of puts them in a block of ice.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's a prison of ice. It's Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Then Liss ult, Frozen Tomb.
So, the Glacial Prison is also down. And the push is coming on in. Shockwave still available. Look for the game-breaking moves out of Crown. The slow push coming in, the double cannons that are buffed by the Baron may just eventually take this out by themselves.
The Age of Empires, Trebuchet is just wreaking havoc on the top lane tower, and Shen's fighting with Kled in the bottom side, and he's actually winning that battle, but without Shen being able to teleport, it doesn't matter how much HP Cube loses as long as he can't connect.
The last Baron wave makes its way in, and that will mean the turret for the side of Samsung. And they're not going to stop there. They're still sticking around, even though both Crown and Ruler are low on mana. Sangyun is as well. So they feel pretty confident in this point in time, but they have to be careful. All the ultimate abilities available on the side of Rocks, as well as Summoners, so they take the smart move, the safe move, and they retreat.
It's quite good that they got 2 towers out of that push, so Overall, Samsung is quite content with that play, but they will have to revisit the top side of the map. Bottom lane inhibitor tower is also low, but there's a lesser chance of that turret going down with a 5-man push. So instead, we can expect them to go to the top side of the map eventually, get some vision there, and prepare for the upcoming Baron.
Ambition running over a ward here. They should know exactly where he is, but you can see that Rocks, they don't want to fight up against this just yet. It's going to spot Lava. That's annoying. Lava was about to recall. Doesn't have any mana.
He's having Valentine's by himself, and then you get somebody to knock...
to spear your table and
down,
flip it.
He's down for the count already. He's mourning his wife, and then some ass just goes in and disturbs his meal, knocks over his dishes.
Who knew that Jarvan was that kind of guy?
He's a prince.
There you go, entitled as ever. No one can have fun unless he's having fun. So the tower goes down. Only got 2 more left here for the side of the Tigers. Desperately trying to hold on to their base by just a pinky at this moment in time.
They just gave it up like it was no big deal.
Yeah, they're really delaying this fight. You know, even with Shen winning the fight up against Kive, still not going for any big plays. Seems like they haven't had it. And here we go. It's going to be that shockwave after the engage from the quickness. And here's the counter engage. You can see Ambition getting extremely low. The Gargoyle Stoneplate is going to be procced, though. And Samsung will come out of this one alive. And with the threat of Ruler in the front, as nobody can get on top of him, or Crown, it looks like this will be it. Lava goes down. And that is the biggest pick they needed. Pushing now down onto the Nexus turrets is Team Samsung. Going to take out one Mighty Bear, trying to make something happen, even though he's got cool nicknames. This Mighty Bear himself doesn't look like he can take this out, as Ruler is the king of the Rift tonight. Taking out another member there is Crown, and that's game number 1.
Clean game there from Samsung. Sure, there might have been some missteps here and there, but overall they should be satisfied with their game win over the Rocks Tigers. And best of all, they actually seem to have a pretty firm grasp on the meta and exactly what is valuable. Similar to what KT was running with the Orianna, Rakan, and Kalista, they take it as well, but instead of the Maokai, they add the Jarvan and Kled. So the Samsung flavor lives on through 7.14, whereas Rocks rely on Sangin, but without the crazy hard engage that you typically need. In this patch, the Kog'Maw just was unable to do a whole lot, and it might be time for Rocks to reassess the play style that they have played through the entire season.
Yeah, it's the play style, but as well as multiple mistakes made over the course of the game. Lava being picked off, other stuff over at the Rift Herald's not going too well, and well, Key and Linderong, they had a good mid-game. They had a couple of plays where they saved the Kog'Maw's life, and the Rocks Tigers were looking like they had a chance to make it into the late game, but somewhere along the way, a bunch of mistakes were made, and Samsung were able to turn it into something much bigger than just a couple of kills.
The mistakes were picks, but I said it in the draft that by taking away the Kog'Maw and Lucian early on, you made your composition so apparent from the get-go that it was only a matter of Samsung saying, all right, we'll just take the champions that will be able to deal with this effectively, that can kite you around, especially the Orianna, that can enhance your tanks and put everybody on CC. And it all began with this attempt to the bottom side of the map. So you've got the Sejuani, who just doesn't have enough damage. This should have been first blood for the Rocks Tigers. So one more auto from Key would have done the trick, but it just was not enough. And in the end, Samsung gets to turn it around, and they walk away with a kill onto Key for first blood. And who better to receive it? None other than Ruler.
One auto attack does it. Core JJ sticks around, and here's where Lava got caught in the mid lane. Couldn't do much about this. He essentially baited Linderong in as well with the Stand United, who then afterwards was 1v3 against a Kalista. So eventually did go down, even burned his teleport at the end.
This is the story of Shen. It is a story that seems to be rewritten by every single team that picks his champion. You use it, but if you use Stand United defensively, it's never going to work. It will almost certainly puts you in a disadvantageous position. And a huge shockwave that did so much damage allows Samsung to be able to retreat out of this fight and take a Baron. So even though Ambition gets critically low, Ruler is able to life steal enough. They get the Baron, and we cut back to them just taking another Dragon just because.
Yeah, Rock's trying to make the best of their situation, but they do go down, and you can see that they have multiple times where they get good Sejuani ults. Actually, most of them were on point because Samsung was essentially just running straight at Mighty Bear, but it was good because it baited it onto Ambition, who was the most tanky member on your team, so they were totally fine to allow him to take damage to engage, and you can see just how free Crown and Ruler are in the backline. They're just like, yeah, we'll take this free damage any day of the week. And again, at this point, they were pretty far ahead. This was what led to the end of the game. So nicely done by Samsung. Not too many issues going into this one. They do pick up a deserved game number 1.
And they play the meta exactly. Since Sunday have been saying you need backline access if you want to play tanks. KT got it. Samsung gets it. It's only a matter of time till the rest of the teams pick it up as well, and we start to see more competitive games from Champion Select.
Well, looks like Crown is going to be poking some fun at Ruler. Those guys were going hand in hand on the damage. The Rakan doing more damage even than the Jarvan on the side of Samsung.
Ah, but it's a Jarvan. Can you really blame him? He doesn't do a whole lot for the team, especially in that composition where his sole purpose is to disrupt.
That is exactly what he did. So Lava and the rest of the Rocks Tigers will have to deal with this issue. They got an 8-minute break to think about how they will take down Samsung in the next one. So we'll see you guys in 8 minutes for game number 2.